Not EM, but in countries like developed countries like the United Kingdom. Is there an opportunity there?
You mean in value or
in value?
Or an opportunity to swoop in general?
Come on, cut to the chase. Should I buy the FTSE this morning?
We're not that constructive on UK equities at this point. And look, we prefer to stay in the U.S., and it seems a little contrarian at this point, or at least out of favor. But we still think there's great opportunity in EM. And a lot of what's been sold off, it's about sentiment, about trade, about policy, about concerns around future growth. And yet we're not actually seeing that come through in terms of the earnings or the demand or any of kind of the high-frequency signals we look at, big data inputs.
What flavor of EM? I mean, is it a commodity angle, which I don't buy, or is it something more general?
On the commodity side, we're not calling for big upside in prices at all, so it's hard for us to get super excited about resource stocks. But a few weeks ago, together with some of the investors, I spent some time in China talking to the tech and media and internet companies, both public and private, that are kind of making the biggest part of the market cap. And what we basically saw was that these demand trends are long-lasting. This is something that's not just a few quarters, and yet these companies were getting severely punished when it comes to prices because of changes in the regulatory environment or some of the concerns around trade or concerns around policy. In general, I think this is a great opportunity for a long-term buy of the Chinese tech sector, which makes up, close to 40% of the market cap of that market.
But, Kate, is this the base case scenario that actually the Chinese are going to do everything they can in their power to stabilize the economy and therefore stabilize the markets? Or is this because you're bullish that actually, we've oversold the Chinese market?
Well, Francine, that's a good point. There's a lot of explicit and implicit support by the Chinese government in key sectors and industries. Technology is certainly one of those industries. And the growth trajectory, we think, will be very supported by government policy going forward. Whether or not they step in to buy the shares, that's a question to be seen, and if that's a sustained program. But what I will say is there's a lot going on in terms of development that makes these companies extremely competitive on a global basis. And I think it's just being underrepresented in their share prices or under-recognized. And, if you have a little bit of a stomach for volatility, this is a nice time to step in.